Alright guys, today we have a 2000 Kia Cadenza. This is 6-cylinder. What we're going to do is we're going to replace the front brake pads. I'm going to show you a procedure on this side. This is the driver's side front, and the same procedure applies to the opposite side in the front passenger. Alright, so what we're going to do is first we're going to remove the tire, right? So if you use a breaker bar, if you have an impact gun, you need a number 21. Alright, you're going to remove the lug nuts. Once you have the lug nuts out, we're going to take this tire off. And we're going to put the tire to the side. And once you have the tire to the side, what we're going to do is I'm going to take my light and camera and put it a little bit on this angle right here. Let me see if I can get a better angle with my light. Right here. Yeah, it's much better. Right back here. We're going to remove the bolt back here. And let me find out what number this is. Alright. I'm going to go get a tool, then I'll tell you what number this is. Alright, so this is number 14. I went and got me a number 14 socket. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen that bolt, and we're going to remove the number 14 bolt just like that. Once we have that out, what we're going to do is we're going to lift out this caliper. You can use a flathead screwdriver, and also, alright, let me go back a little bit. We're going to remove the number 14 on the top here also, right? And the reason why is because I noticed most of the time you don't have to remove the bolt. You can slide the pin out. But this is going to put stress on the brake line, and I don't want to do that, alright? I don't want to damage that brake line. I don't want to hurt it. So remove them both, and then you can simply just take off the caliper and let it sit and ride on top of that rotor just like that. Alright, once you have that, what we're going to do here is we're going to remove the brake pad. Alright, this brake pad is finished. It's down to nothing. Alright, just pay attention to these little things and pay attention to everything you take off. Some of these brake pads have sensors. If this one has it, I'll show you. Alright, you see this letter? This is called a brake rear indicator, right? In another word, we call it a sensor. When this thing evens out, it hits. The rotor slides and hits that. It makes a noise, alright? So, like I said, pay attention, alright? We took this out from the inside brake pad and it was in the bottom, alright? Next, what you're going to do is, if you have brake pads that come with this hardware kit, make sure you install a new hardware kit. This customer brought their own parts. So all I could do here is I could clean a little bit here for them. You know, they've been good customers for a long time. Alright, I can all check these things. This hardware kit looked good, but the brake pads they brought did not have the hardware kit. Alright, so what we're doing here is, let me grab the brake pads. Alright, here's the brake pads. Alright, I usually don't like to buy stuff online because they come in a poor quality. Alright, so when a customer brings their own parts, we do have to put it. So what I'll do is I'll squeeze up these little things here because this is loose. It's not supposed to be that loose, you know. The sensor goes inside. You see this? But if I put it on this inside, it's going to be on the top. I did not take it off the top, so just make sure you get the other sensor, the brake pad with the sensor. So if I put this one on the inside, it's going to be in the bottom just like that, alright? So same procedure. The way you took out, the way you're going to put back in, alright? And make sure your brake pad's going smoothly. You should not have to hammer them in. Alright, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix up this little shim right here for this brake pad. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze this a little bit. I think I did it too much. And And I just don't want this to be loose and rattling on the car. A little bit more. All right, just take your time, you know, do it right the first time. All right, there you go. It's not gonna move anymore. So you take this brake pad and you put it right there, all right? What I like to do next is I like to put some grease on the outer edges of brake pads. On both of them, the inside brake pad on the outer edge. Do not put it on the surface. That goes on the rotor. That's not gonna be safe. Just make sure these pins are good. These are sliding pretty good. If they need to be greased up, grease them up. But these are pretty smooth. I've never seen these pins so smooth, all right? So it's a good thing. Next, what I'll do is, let me take up my camera a little bit higher. And I'll bring my light this way, if you can see it. Put my light up here. What we're gonna do is, we're gonna take an old brake pad, we're gonna put it right here. We're gonna compress this piston back right on this caliper. So you can use a C-clamp or a tool like this I have. You know, you can't see it very good. Let me just move it to a different angle so you can see better. There you go, that's much better. All right, I had one of my customers. All right, my phone rang, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I get calls like that all day long, machines, all right? Hate them. All right, back to the job. One of my customers, he's probably gonna watch my video and he's gonna know, I remember what he said. Make sure you take off the lid on the reservoir. Sometimes when you push this back, the fluid overflows, it rushes back into the reservoir. And take off the cap, that will release some pressure. And you could use a C-clamp to squeeze this or a tool such as this. So all you do is, we're gonna push that piston back, all right? Just like that. So this piston should go in easily, all right? Shouldn't be very difficult. If you have a hard time pushing that piston, just see if your line is bent somewhere. And if it's still not going in, then you have a bad caliper. All right, so this is what we have so far. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come across this side now. We're almost done. All right, maybe 5 more minutes. Not less than that probably, not even. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this caliper and we're gonna put it back here, right? But since we took this caliper up and we twisted it, just pay attention to the brake line. It's nice and smooth, it's not twisted. You know, if it's twisted, it's not, when you make a turn, it's gonna get stretched, pulled. Not a proper amount of fluid is gonna flow through it. It might get restricted. You don't want any of that. All right, you see that line? I'm making it straight. The line is straight now, just like that. All right, you have to push these pins in a little bit sometimes to get the caliper in place. And also, just make sure you have your brake pads the proper way. I have seen a customer who did his own brakes. He came to me for oil change. And he told me his brakes make noise. He had the brake upside down, you know. This part was running on the rotor. He had the brake pad sitting that way. All right, so that was a big problem there. So let me move my camera a little bit down so you can see better. I'll take my light down here again. Just like that. Let me see if you can see. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tighten these bolts. So you're going to take your number 14. Sometimes this will turn with it, just hold on to it. Alright. Alright, there you go. I'm just hitting that way because I don't have a good angle right now, but I'll double check that later on. So there we go, we're done, alright? So we changed these brake pads on this side, and if you need to do the opposite side, which you have to, of course, same procedure. All right, same procedure on the opposite side, and make sure you take your time and do it properly. And we're done, guys. If you need any help, if you have any comments, questions, you can message me, and please subscribe.